Now, you've probably seen the recent polls where Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are running a really, really tight race. I mean, this is close. My prediction, this is going to be a squeaker, okay? Hillary Clinton, yes, has a good chance of winning, but Donald Trump also has a pretty decent chance of winning, and that should scare the crap out of you. Anyway, there's to back this up, there is a Quinnipiac poll that came out last week through September 13th through the 16th. Now, they pointed out how, look, in this poll, and I covered it yesterday, Hillary Clinton leads by 48 to 43. That's a 5-point lead. It's pretty solid, right? Now, when included in this poll, right, third parties tend to take quite a bit away from Hillary Clinton, right? Now, with Gary Johnson and Jill Stein in the race, Clinton gets only about 41% to Trump's 39%. So that's still a lead, yes, but it's within the margin of error. Bit of a problem, okay? Really, really close, too close to call. Now, of course, some of the reasons that I pointed out is, look, they have both really, really negative favorability ratings. They are the two least liked candidates that have ever run on both the Republican and Democratic tickets. Really, really, really unpopular. Now, she has a negative favorability rating of, 40 to 57, right? Trump, even worse. He's got a 35% favorability rating and a 59% unfavorability rating. That is in the toilet, man. That's really, really bad. Now, as far as Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, they're also included in this. 53% of voters hadn't heard enough about Gary Johnson in order to form an opinion. Well, a couple of quick things about Gary Johnson. He's a libertarian, believes in the TPP, wants to get rid of food safety regulations, a lot of regulations, but he's pro-pot. Hey, well, there are good sides to everybody, right? And, of course, he's had some pretty bad gaffes. What is Aleppo? And then there was the recent bombing in Chelsea where he was like, I'm glad nobody was hurt. No, 29 people were injured. Nobody was killed, but 29 people were still injured. It's still a big deal, right? And, of course, we want to extend, condolences and well wishes. Hey, get better. We're sending positive thoughts your way. And if you pray that's your thing, okay, awesome. Do that, right? So, Gary Johnson, there's a couple of points for him, right? About his policies and stuff. Now, 72% haven't heard enough about Jill Stein. Well, now that might explain why she's at 4% in the polls. There's a lot of people don't know about her and don't know about her policies. And some of them might be too far left for some people, and some of them sound really, really great. So, I think the more that you learn about Jill Stein is good. I mean, it's good to learn more so that you can make an informed opinion, right? That's why we do stories here about Jill Stein and talk about some of her policies. But nonetheless, the vast majority of Americans don't know anything about her, and they mostly know about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and what they see they don't like. So that's what this poll pretty much points out. Now, here's the other thing, right? Here's probably the most interesting thing about this poll, is that Hillary Clinton has not given people a reason to vote for her. Basically, her strategy is, here's some rope, Donald Trump, go hang yourself. I will help you. Now, that's not something that's going to get people excited. That's why there's an enthusiasm gap, right? And this poll shows it. Among Clinton voters, 54% say they're mainly voting against Donald Trump. We're not voting for Hillary Clinton. I think she's terrible. But look at that guy over there. That dude's crazy. Yeah, we're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. But really, we're voting against Trump. Now, 32% of Americans polled say that they're mainly voting for Clinton because, hey, they believe in the establishment. Yay, no change, great. Go establishment. Yeah, fantastic, right? Most Americans, however, they're not really buying it. Now, What's interesting enough is that there's the same phenomenon going on the Republican side. 66% of Trump voters say, look, man, Donald Trump, I don't like this guy, but Clinton, she's the devil. 66%. Jesus, man. 23% say loudly and proudly, oh, yeah, I'm voting for, go Trump, Trump. Yeah, right, okay. Now, on the issue of lesser evils, we hear a lot about this. Jill Stein's running on this. Hey, don't vote for the lesser of two evils. Vote for me. I'm not evil. Okay, well, 38% of Clinton supporters say, look, man, she is the lesser of two evils. That is the only reason I am voting for her. But while 57% say that, well, yeah, she's the candidate that we prefer, we like her, whatever. Now, millennials. There's been a lot of articles about how millennials are going to cost the election for Hillary Clinton. Well, that's because they're freaked out because 44% of millennials say that they'll be voting for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. Now, once again, if you're a progressive, why would you vote for Gary Johnson? He's not running on a progressive platform whatsoever. He's running on we're going to shrink government, right? We're going to get rid of government, which means the stuff that actually we need, like food safety and the EPA. He wanted to get rid of the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Education. There's a lot of things that he would get rid of because that's what the libertarians believe in. Let's get rid of all the government stuff. Hey, let's get rid of food safety regulations so that, the free market or whatever, the free marketeers can make an extra buck. Yeah, but people are going to die from, diseases. Okay? Foodborne illnesses. Salmonella, for example. Not a good idea. I wouldn't want to go in that direction. And why any progressive would want to vote for Gary Johnson, I have no clue. And look, I'm making a big assumption that saying that all millennials are progressives, that's not necessarily true. But there are some that are looking at Gary Johnson going, hey, he ain't Clinton. But anyway, so look. Now, back to the lesser of two evils argument, right? Among Trump supporters, 50% say that they're picking the lesser of two evils, half, while 46% of them say that he is the candidate that they like. Okay, so there's the lesser. You're seeing like almost a mirror. Both parties really do not like who their nominee is, and yet they dislike the other candidate so much that they're like, I'll push the button, I'll pull the lever, I'll, mark the check mark, I'll do whatever just to prevent that guy or that woman from attaining the highest office in the land. This has been an incredibly negative campaign, an incredibly negative election season. It has been terrible. Now, finally, there's a couple of other things here. Now, a total of 70% of likely voters said that it was very important or somewhat important that the next president be someone to whom they can relate. Now, 70%, that's most of the country. Well, you can't relate to either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. One's a supposed billionaire, and the other's taken millions and millions of dollars from corporations and bankers and wealthy donors. And they're both completely disconnected to the needs of the American people. That's why Bernie Sanders was so popular, because he actually understood. He actually said, look, I've lived this, and I've been fighting for these policies that will actually help you for over 40 years. Hillary Clinton really has not. I mean, okay, she grew up modest, I guess. Certainly not poor. But as soon as she got out of the White House, that's when she started taking millions and millions of dollars. When she ran for the Senate, taking millions and millions of dollars from banks and large corporations. That is not somebody who is in tune with the people. Even if you start out that way and start out, hey, I want to serve the people, well, pretty soon the system is going to corrupt you because you need all this money to run for office. And you got all these opportunities, you get to meet all these people, and you get to make connections. Pretty soon, you lose the connections to the regular working person. And that's one of the big problems that we have with the system. And that's why she cannot relate. Donald Trump, I don't think he even wants to relate. He was born with a silver spoon in his ass and, had his daddy's money. Every time he'd fail, he'd go back to daddy and be like, I need money. I fucked up again. I fucked up with Trump steaks. I fucked up with Trump vodka. I fucked up with Trump's airlines. I fucked up with Trump, the modeling agency. I fucked up with 3 casinos in Atlantic City. I need money. Donald Trump would have done so much better if he had just put his money that he inherited from his dad into an index fund. He'd be richer. He would be richer if he sat back and did nothing. Disconnected. Disconnected from you, disconnected from me. And the American people know it. That's why they're so unpopular. In fact, 61 to 36% say that they cannot relate to Clinton, and 64 to 34% say that they cannot relate to Donald Trump. The American people, they want better options. And these two are probably the worst options. This is why I've hated this election ever since Bernie Sanders did not win the primary. I mean, this has been a disaster. It's been an absolute joke of an election. And look, it's the American people know it. They see it, and they're tired of it. And hopefully, after this election is over, we can actually start to make the structural changes in order to make it necessary for, or to make it so that a third party can actually be able to run a successful campaign, as well as change the system from the inside out and try to get all that big money out of politics that makes these politicians unable to connect to you and I. So we've got a long, long road ahead of us after the election in order to make it so that the next time there's an election, we actually have better choices. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.